When it comes to body image, I think men have got it way worse than women. Here's why. So this may be controversial, but I genuinely do think men have a harder time when it comes to dealing with their own body image problems and insecurities compared to women, simply because for men it's just not a natural topic to talk about. No matter what age you are, whether you're a kid in school, whether you've just got married, whether you've just become a dad or a granddad, throughout a male's life, they're basically molded to keep their insecurities and issues and problems to themselves. Because ultimately, talking about your feelings, especially when it comes to your body image and your mental health, it's suddenly not a very masculine thing to talk about, is it? Especially if you've been brought up in an environment or a family where talking about these kind of things is it's not very manly, or you hear the words man up, especially with your group of friends, lad behaviour. Quite often, if a guy has a problem, they'll enter that topic into the conversation with your friends as a joke or some sort of humorous way, almost to kind of soften the blow. Something like, oh, I've got a six pack, but it's in the fridge. A really light-hearted, funny comment, but in truth, there's a deeper meaning behind that. And quite often that is, I feel overweight, or I am overweight, and I'm unhappy about the way I look. But when have you ever heard two guys having a conversation about each other's appearance in that kind of open way? Never. But that's just a guy thing to do. You joke about it rather than getting straight to the point and being honest, because there's almost a bit of shame attached to it. There's a bit of a stigma that you want to avoid really kind of opening up and telling the truth about how you're feeling, because you don't want to feel judged. You don't want your friends to kind of view you as any less of a man because you're opening up and talking about this stuff. I think kids have it hard, young boys, because they're surrounded by the type of toxic content which is so easily accessible these days, where there are these idiots trying to portray the perfect way of looking, looks maxing, defining their jaw, getting as big as possible, pumping themselves full of God knows what supplements, influencers body shaming anyone that doesn't look like them, trying to sell a course or trying to sell some sort of training program, because you've got to look like them if you want to be successful, right? That's just the message they're putting out there. If you want to achieve anything in life, if you want to be happy, if you want to get a girlfriend, if you want to settle down, get a good job, you've got to look like one of these pricks with a square angular jaw, six pack, massive chest, massive arms, because that is what society tells us. That's just the way to look. For girls and women out there, I think it's a little bit easier. They've got their own world when it comes to body positive messages, influencers, role models, promoting the right kind of messages out there to be yourself, be comfortable with who you are, be comfortable the way you look. And that's great, because that's been an ongoing topic and a problem for the female environment and audience for a long time. So I'm glad that they've got a solution in a way, something that's already been going for years. But for men, we're just told to deal with it. We're just told to bottle it up, to man up, to put your feelings aside and just deal with it. And I know there's going to be a lot of guys out there that just simply don't understand this, or they've never been on the receiving end of comments like that, because they've not had any problems to worry about from a body image perspective. And that's fine. That's, you're one of the lucky ones. You've not had to grow up living day to day, suffering in silence, being bullied, being judged, or ever having to worry about anything to do with the way you look. But I'm here to tell you, there is a big portion of people that are in the opposite boat. Whether you've started to struggle with these things or whether you've been dealing with these kind of problems for years and years, the key thing is it's a problem to you. And so that's something that needs to be addressed. You might have only just started feeling insecure about something to do with yourself. You might have had a good start to life where you've not had any problems. You were always in good shape. You never had to worry about how you looked or your appearance. But as time has gone on, as you've got older, as your lifestyle has changed, maybe things have changed. Maybe your body's slowing down. Maybe you're losing hair. Maybe you've put on weight. Maybe you're losing height. Maybe your skin's getting worse. Whatever it is, people go through things at different stages of life. They go through their own issues, face their own problems at different stages. But that doesn't mean that their problems are any less relevant than someone who's had these types of issues for a longer period of time. But this is again why men have it harder, because for someone like that who's gone through most of their life without probably worrying about their image or body image, their insecurities, they might have only just started going through something. Who can they look up to? There is no role model, there is no celebrity face out there that's promoting this stuff to make them feel like, you know what, if they're going through it, I'm going through it. We're all suffering together, but you know what? It's not actually a big deal. We're all built different. We're all individuals going through our own shit, and that's okay. There is no message out there promoting that for anyone of any age, of any stage of their insecurities. But for women, there is. There's loads. There's role models from a young age all the way through to the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. There's so much out there to help women through their own challenges and struggles, and basically nothing for men. And what's worse is men often carry this weight for years before they even reveal anything about how they're feeling. They bottle it up, they keep it to themselves, and then one day it explodes. And I'm sad to say, the suicide rates for men in this country are horrendous. I think a man commits suicide in this country something ridiculous, like every 4 minutes or every 4 seconds, or it's ludicrous. But we don't hear about these stories, do we? We don't hear about all the suffering that families are going through because they've lost a loved one as a result of suicide. Obviously, I'm not saying men are committing suicide or they're taking their lives into their own hands as a result of their own body image, but I'm sure there are 1 or 2 cases where that is the reason. But what you've got to understand is body image and the insecurities, they lead on to other mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, body dysmorphia. There is a domino effect of one issue magnifying another issue, leading on to other issues. And then before you know it, the core root, which, yes, could be to do with their body image, has suddenly taken over their mind, and now it's something even more serious. And that's something that's sort of beyond repair, or they need professional help. But quite often, it's too late because men don't talk about it. Men feel shy and ashamed to reveal their true feelings. They feel embarrassed to talk to their wives and partners about this stuff because they don't want to be seen as less of a man. They bottle it up. It comes out in the form of anger, or they're silent. They become a moody prick like me. They turn to ways of relieving themselves, like alcohol, having an extra drink every night just to kind of numb that insecurity and that feeling, that daily thoughts that's been bubbling around and rotating around in your mind. And yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm still guilty of that. I love having a drink, and sometimes I love having a bit too much because it kind of makes me feel, you know what, I don't have any worries. I can just relax. Finally, I can be happy. I know that I'm a different person after a few drinks, but I wish I could be that person all the time and not having alcohol as the catalyst. But I know so many people that are probably in that same boat, and there's a reason why they're spending an extra bit of time down the pub, or they're a different person when they're inside the house versus outside the house. It's a really sad place to be. This is not a nice topic to talk about, because I'm not coming to you with an answer. I'm not saying, well, I'm glad to say we've got loads of role models now. I'm glad to say we've got loads of support and things for the men out there who've been suffering in silence. I wish I was, but ultimately this is still such a new topic that most men, they might not even realize that they're having an issue or they have insecurities, and that they've been keeping things to themselves about how uncomfortable they are about the way they look. They probably haven't realized, oh shit, I've changed a lot. My mood has changed. I've become almost like a worse person. They probably just think this is life. This is how men get older. They become moody. They become depressed. They become almost like they feel alone. And that's life. That's normal. Well, that's not fucking life. We've got one life. And it doesn't mean just because you've settled down, had kids, or you've got a stable job or whatever it is, doesn't mean that now I can just become moody, depressed, miserable. That's not life. I wish there was more support for men out there. I wish there was a group like this group, like the Mailman. I wish this was so big that men could just turn to it when they're feeling down, or when they're feeling, you know what, I just feel alone. I just feel like I'm the only one suffering. I've got all these insecurities. But then they turn to this group and they feel, actually, you know what, there are thousands, millions of guys out there all having the same issue as me. And then suddenly, I don't feel alone anymore. I'm not the only one going through this. Or they feel comfortable enough to have a chat with a mate, or have a chat with a stranger, and tell them and voice how they're really feeling. Tell them about their true feelings around their image and how they feel towards certain insecurities. Because that in itself, just talking about it, will do you so much good. Just knowing that you can turn to someone and just explain what's going on in your head, rather than carrying this burden and this weight by yourself and feeling worse and worse every day. And honestly, it doesn't matter what age you are, or what stage of life you are, or when your insecurities or your body image issues started having an impact on you. It doesn't matter what stage you are in, because I guarantee there are so many others in the same position as you that you just don't know. You think they're fine. On the outside, men look fine. Because again, like I said, we learn to just put up this facade to basically get by day to day and not give off the impression that there's some real shit problems going on in my life right now. Because it's not very masculine to do that. And so that's why men just shut the fuck up and deal with their own shit in their own way. But if you could just turn to a mate and say, look, I just feel really shit about the way I look. I hate, like for me, I hate the extra weight I'm carrying. I hate my big man booby chest. I hate my skin from time to time. I hate leaving the house wearing, a normal t-shirt. But to someone else, it might look fine. But to me, in the mirror, I just look horrible. Like it's a really uncomfortable image that I'm dealing with day to day. Just talking about it, rather than stepping out the house and feeling, you know what, I'm just gonna live with myself. I'm just gonna deal with this because I'm a man. I reckon you'd be surprised if you opened up, started talking to someone close to you, or even a stranger. Not only will you feel better, I promise you, you will feel better for talking about it. But I also predict that they will open up about their own issues as well. They will open up. You might be surprised. You might think they're not going to resonate with what you're saying, or they might not get it. But I'm pretty sure they will open up and say, you know what, mate, I have my own issues as well. I also feel the same things. And what happens after that? You might be surprised. You might just learn, you know what, we're fine as we are. We don't need to change. I'm happy with the way I look. Now that I'm speaking to people, I feel more comfortable. I feel more confident just knowing that I'm not alone. Or you might think, you know what, let's both try and make a change. For us, let's do something together. Why don't we start hitting the gym together, or going for walks together, or playing a sport together, Or let's both go to this clinic or a doctor and talk to them about, you know, getting that hair transplant or getting our teeth sorted or getting our skin sorted or whatever it is, whatever the insecurity is. You just don't know what the outcome could be. It could have a really positive impact on you and whoever you're talking to. And that's the whole point of this, because you just don't know. You don't know what other people are suffering with. You don't know the challenges that they're also facing on a day-to-day basis. So why live miserably together in silence when you could actually have a partner to go through this with? And you're more likely to succeed in overcoming whatever challenges you're going through as a team than on your own. Because ultimately, you look around, every guy you see looks different. We're built different, every single one of us. But we're all still valid. We're just as valid as each other, as every other guy out there. There is no one that's more important or less important or perfect or imperfect. Everyone looks their own way because that is how we're made. We're not fucking robots. We're not all made to look the same. So who's got the right to say this is how you should look? Or you're 40, you should look this way. Or you're 50, you should look this way. Have a think about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. I post videos like this every week. And if you're suffering with your own body image issues, or you've overcome your own issues in some ways, share it, comment, let us know, because people watching this might need to hear it. I might need to hear it. I'm always looking for new ways to help myself. Ultimately, this brand is to help others like myself and kids and adults going through body image insecurities. But ultimately, I'm trying to help myself because I've lived far too long caring too much about what other people think about me. And honestly, I'm sick to death. I've wasted so much time feeling judged, feeling like I'm not enough. And I want to live the next 40 years just being happier. So let's get this message out there. Share it with someone that you think needs to hear this. And I'll see you on the next one.